administrators. Even fewer discussions centered about the impact that these harsh realities had on children who were 5 and 6 years old, like myself, not being able to reconcile their loving homes to the environment that they entered into a school, while they were often called names, ridiculed, and even abused by children and adults alike. An environment that by high school turned bright, happy children with limitless potential, like my brother, into children who were often dismissed, labeled, and happily sent to Mrs. Lee. Mrs. Lee had a big, bright, beautiful smile for every student that she encountered with those little dimples in the side of her face. She had a special way of seeing and then calling out the goodness and potential in every child. She made each student feel important because to her, they were. They were all special in her and in God's eyes. I remember when my brother was in the 11th grade. He decided that he was not going to college. Nobody could convince him that college was where he should go, no matter how hard we tried. But he loved Mrs. Lee. And she was the highlight of his day when my mother told her that he was not trying to go to college and not motivated to go. Mrs. Lee spoke to him in the soft, nurturing way that only she could do. And she said to him, "David, I think you ought to go to Central." And do you know why? He went into his litany of reasons that he was not going, and Mrs. Lee said, "Those are good reasons, but did you know that NCCU has a student ratio of 12 girls?" On that day, Mrs. Lee became a hero in our family. And my brother worked hard to graduate. When he was about to go off to school, Mrs. Lee asked him to come by because she had a gift for him. He came home beaming with this big t-shirt, and it didn't have words, only numbers. 12 to 1. My brother wore that shirt once a week during his whole entire freshman year. I'd like to thank Sarah and the rest of the Historical Society for honoring the Lees. And I'm grateful to my good friend Angela, who is so much like her mother, for asking me to speak this evening. Mostly, I would like to tell Mrs. Lee and let her know that you have been one of my greatest role models and inspiration in education. I appreciate you for finding the specialness in all of the students that you come in contact with and having great expectations of success for all your children. We are blessed to have you around us, and we are blessed to have you in our community. Thank you, Mrs. Lee, for inspiring us all.
Really, Angela? Last. Come on. I mean, there's no meat on this bone. I can make this putt. I'm honored to be here this evening to tell you some of my thoughts about Mr. and Mrs. Lee. You know, I just find it kind of, this whole night has been just so interesting. I listened to Alan talk, and he was talking about like 1969 was the American Revolution. Like I said, you know, I was at a party yesterday for the fundraiser for the Durham Police Department, and they had a DJ, And he said, we're going to go way back now. We're going old school on. We're going way back. And he played some new edition. I was at the guy went to school with me, and I said, boy, we are getting old. 1969, 68 in that era, I was going to an all African-American junior high school. And my son is here with me, and when he and his sisters were 5, 6 years old, I was trying to explain to him about, all African-American school. And they didn't get it. They thought it was the dumbest and the stupidest thing that, they ever heard of. But when Charlie Scott came to school here, I was in junior high school. As I said, I was going to J.W. Parker Junior High School. And back then, junior high was 7th, 8th, and 9th grade. And, I'm talking about we were pretty good. I mean, basketball was really important. I mean, we didn't lose a basketball game in the 7th, 8th, or 9th grade. We were really good, and it was important. And when Charlie Scott came to the University of North Carolina, you can imagine every little boy at J.W. Parker was going to come to North Carolina and play basketball. We were all going to be Charlie Scott. And then, lo and behold, like the following year, the word gets back to J.W. Parker that Chapel Hill has an African-American male. And, I remember going to the movies with my dad, and we having to go upstairs and go to the movie and stuff like that. But you got the star of the basketball team is an African-American guy. The mayor is an African-American guy. And we hadn't even integrated schools in Rocky Mount at that time. So it was a big thing for me to become, a Carolina Tar Heel. It's so interesting that Mr. and Mrs. Lee have so much in common with my parents. My granddad was a sharecropper, and Mr. Lee's dad was a sharecropper. And you know how guys, you know your sons, your daughters maybe, but your sons. And I remember talking to my dad in the 8th grade. A bunch of my buddies were propping tobacco. And I don't know how many of you guys know about priming tobacco or not, but I begged my dad to let me go. And he said, son, you're not tough enough. You can't do that. I mean, he had to do it every day. He said, son, you can't do it. So after 2 weeks of begging, he finally let me go. I quit. He never let me forget that. He would always tell me, it's not the height that you reach, but the depth in which you came. And to achieve things that he did, he got his master's at A&T, and to achieve the things that Mr. Lee did throughout his life is just something that I don't think any of us can comprehend on where they were and what they accomplished in their lives. And just to be here and be an inspiration to all of us is just incredible. And Mrs. Lee, like my mom, teacher, she's a teacher. Unlike my mom, though, Mrs. Lee, she kind of likes sports. My mom saw me play in person 2 times. My mom thought Dean Smith was the dean of a school. She really did. It's interesting, though. She's the youngest of 8 kids, a big family. Mrs. Lee has a big family as well. But they tend to have this certain sense that they can pick up on a good person and a bad person. And I remember when Coach Smith came to Rocky Mount to recruit me, all the other coaches were telling me how much I was going to play and how much I was going to start. I was a top 10 high school basketball player in America. It's like parade. It's McDonald's now, but it's parade then. But when Coach Smith gets there, he tells me, you may have to play JV. I don't know where you'll fit in. But my mom picked up on that. My mom thought it was a good thing because she didn't think he was a liar. She thought those other guys were just like Walter said. They just filling your head up with stuff just to get you to come to school. And Mrs. Lee and Coach Smith's relationship, and those of you that don't know Coach Smith, he's a private dude. Not many people got into his world. Just sitting around here, I see Dr. Seymour, I see Alexander and the Lees, that I know were great friends with him. But for them to get into that world and for Mrs. Lee to pick up on the type of person that Coach Smith was, it's just an incredible thing. And you guys may not know, what you meant to me as a basketball player, because when I got to Carolina as a basketball player, it may have been 5 or 6 African Americans before me. It wasn't a whole lot. And just to see them there, just to be traveling with us on the road, just to know that they were there. I knew I was always going to be treated fairly. They weren't going to put up with any crap, anything about me not being treated fairly. And the one thing that I think as parents that we always try to do is show our kids love, but we also want them to feel secure and feel safe. And whenever Mr. and Mrs. Lee was around, I always felt safe and I always felt secure. And I can never repay you guys for that. Thank you very much.
I have seen these and they're wonderful.
That really took me back to my early days. And what he said was, you shouldn't run there because the time is not right. And all my life I had been told the time is not right. And so I indicated at that time that I was going to run from there and make the time right. I was actually running because there were so many issues that had been ignored in childhood. The traditional black section of town had not received the level of services and attention that it truly deserved in terms of paved streets, in terms of water and sewer. So there were enough issues in the black community to be able to generate activities to give hope that some of these things could be dealt with. The public transit system in Chapel Hill was started in a community that had not really had an organized public transit system. We had to start this system from scratch. It was a tough go, and I had to convince the voters that they should allocate a certain percentage from the property tax to support the system. That initiative that loaned out failed the first time, both in Carver and in Chapel. I refused to quit, and we went back the next year with another proposal that passed on certain Congress. That was the beginning of the bus system. And of course, I'm proud of the fact that today, when I look at the numbers of people that are being transported to basketball games and football games, and the fact that buses are running all over town, I am just very pleased. So transportation has certainly been one of my hallmarks. Things start somewhere, and I'm lucky to come along from the time I did. I'd like people to remember that we moved Chapel Hill to be what it intended to be. And that is a community where people are treated with respect, and that barriers which may have divided people over time are broken down. But the real legacy should be that Chapel Hill, under my administration, was moved from under the shadow of the university and got try to develop its own image of an independent, growing community that's in partnership with the university. So let's just hope that the historians sitting right about that time, about these times, they remember that he was here, and Chapel Hill created a new identity, a new vision for itself. And as a result of that, has now come to a point of being recognized as the progressive city it always wanted itself to be represented.
Very glad that we got that for you. The other video we will be showing a little later, but you should know that both videos will be on the Historical Society's website, so you can see them at your convenience. On the day that 34-year-old Howard Lee became mayor, he said, "I hope to begin discussion with university officials by September concerning development of the Town Gown Commission. Within the next few weeks, I will be meeting with the Housing Authority to discuss some new ideas and plans for meeting our housing needs in this community. I hope and encourage the Board of Aldermen to give recreation a greater priority in next year's budget. Within a year, I hope to have a plan ready, bringing a public transportation system to Chapel Hill. After Mayor Lee had been in office for a little more than 1 year, Chapel Hill Weekly reported, "No Chapel Hill mayor has ever worked so hard or been so accessible to his constituents." When he ran for mayor for his third and last time in 1973, he received a stunning 89% of the vote. Now, Jack Evans, Kenny Mann, William Gaddis, Ms. Dolores Bailey, and Jerry Neville, all of whom are well-known and admired figures in Chapel Hill, will offer their reflections on the accomplishments of Howard Lee in the manner and order listed on the program.
Your golf scores are safe with me and mine are safe with you. Good evening, everyone. I've been asked to make a few comments about town-gown relations. As it relates to the Lee family, I'm going to take a broad view of that, as you will see. Because when I think about the Lees, the one word that comes, or the phrase that comes to my mind first is dedication to education. They are bridge builders, they are problem solvers, they are solution creators. I invite you to imagine a shelf of books, 50 books to be exact. One for every year from 1969 through the present. And each one of those books contains the accomplishments of Lillian and Howard Lee in this town. Imagine that shelf of books. Now, I'm going to position my comments as bookends around that shelf of books. Here's the background. At this time in 1969, my family and I lived outside of Chicago, and we had decided to leave the University of Chicago to come join the faculty at the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill. In fact, at that time, it wasn't called the University of North Carolina at Chapel Hill yet. And that's another story. But I remember people telling us, you need to understand that North Carolina is not the South, and Chapel Hill is not North Carolina. They meant those to be encouraging words. But we learned about the Lees before we came here, because I remember reading in a national news magazine about Howard's election as mayor. We came here, and I think the best example I can offer you as part of my remarks about town-down relations was that when we got here at the very end of 1969, and I started my role on the faculty in 1970, there was a cafeteria workers' strike underway. And that was a university issue, and you might wonder why that became a town issue. But the reason that it did was that the cafeteria workers were predominantly African American residents of Chapel Hill. These folks were people whose cause Howard took on. And he worked with Bill Friday, who was then president of what was then called the Consolidated University. And they managed to find a solution. So that would be one item in one of those 50 years worth of books. I want to fast forward 50 years from then to now, and just note that Howard is still at it. He's still working with schools, particularly schools that have a predominantly non-white enrollment, to try to improve the educational experience of young people in those schools. And his approach to that is to find schools that have what he regards to be the right level of leadership and dedication to accomplishing that same thing. 3 or 4 years ago, Howard and I had a conversation, and we were exploring the question of what would it take to put a book in the hands of each third grader at the end of the school year in this particular school with which Howard has been working for a number of years. Howard's approach to that was to say, let's go talk to the principal. We did that. And that principal had some ideas. And long story made short, we were able to do something along those lines. So I think that shelf of books is going to have to be expanded, because with each passing year, Howard and Lillian add another volume to that shelf of books of accomplishments, almost all of which are in some way targeted to education and improving the access to opportunity that they believe education creates in our state and in our communities. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so proud to be here tonight in honor of Mr. and Mrs. Lee. My name is Kenny Mann. I'm the great-great-grandson of Matthew Mason, who was a slave on the Mason farm, owned by Thomas and Elizabeth Mason. His slave cabin is located exactly where the Friday Center is. Why am I telling you that? I just want to get it off my chest. There's a lot of Masons out here, by the way. Ladies and gentlemen, growing up here in Chapel Hill, this town had a very sophisticated kind of racism. Sophisticated. It did not have the dogs of Birmingham or the hoses of Montgomery, Alabama. But what Howard Lee pointed out to many of us here, that we were a bunch of frogs getting boiled in a pot. I lived at 406 Mitchell Lane, which is in the geographic center of the North Side District. One football field from Rosemary Street. We had dirt roads on Lindsay. Pavement stopped halfway down Mitchell Lane. We walked to school every morning on the dirt road. There was dirt roads everywhere. Craig Street, Gomez. If you're not familiar with those streets, after you leave, you'll drive through there late at night to see how it is. It's a whole lot better now than 1962. Howard Lee taught us that it didn't have to be that way. But many of us had lived under a system here that was passed down through our grandparents and their parents that, oh yeah, you're doing better than people in Rocky Mountain. Then they had, I always felt like some of the administration here before Howard was in cahoots with Hollywood. Because every time I turned on the television, they told me I came from there in Africa, and the depiction of Africa made the North Side District seem not so bad. At least I'm not out in a hood. And then the most sickening thing was that there was a lot of older people that felt like we're doing all right. We're going to get there and by and by. Let's pray on it. We just pray. I mean, we doing this. Howard taught us the same thing that Matt Brown told us a few months ago. We want to win now. All of a sudden, when Howard became mayor of this town, I wanted to learn how to tie my tie. I wanted to go to class all of a sudden. My role models I had picked up off television. I wanted to be some people you might remember. Al Gottlieb, J. Calhoun, George Kingfish Stevens, Andrew H. Brown. My friend Earl Bound knows I could walk down and imitate anybody on television. I was scratching where I didn't itch. But Howard Lee was the example that my father and grandfather were telling me to be like. They were working men. I didn't see much of my father because he was always going to work at 4 in the morning. I wasn't getting up that early. I got all my advice from the telephone and standing behind the bathroom door. He told me, because Howard Lee was the first black man that I saw that looked white people in the eye. And that firm handshake, his articulation, his command of the square shoulder. Now, as bad as Chapel Hill, the sophisticated racist was, he couldn't have done that in Lithonia, Georgia. I perform in Lithonia, Georgia. I go get my check and I get out as quick as I can. In Savannah, Georgia, Clarence Thomas is from there. So but I want to close by saying that Ricky Lee and I went to Longberg Institute. together where Charlie graduated from. Everybody, after the race ride here in 1970 in Champion High, was the white kids was going to Durham Academy. The black kids, parents who had money, were going to Lawrenceburg. I was so sad because Lawrenceburg turned me down the first time. I was a good football player, and they tried to sell me as a football player. That lady right there was wise enough to pick up the phone. She knew Mr. McDuffie. Said, "This boy is a heck of a saxophone player." Mr. McDuffie said, "Why you hold down?" So I can talk all night, but I just like to say that I'm a proud member of First Baptist Church, Reverend J.R. Valley, and I have never heard of a 1-hour church service.
Good evening. My name is William Gaddis, and it is my pleasure to have been asked by the Chapel Hill Historical Society to help celebrate Howard Lillian Lee, specifically to talk about library services during the tenure of Mr. Howard Lee as Mayor of Chapel Hill, and Ms. Lillian Lee as Dean of Students and teacher for Chapel Hill City, Harbor City School, and Chapel Hill High School. I'm going to approach you with a different bit. When I heard about Mayor Lee becoming mayor of Chapel Hill, I was stationed in Rantoul, Illinois. I was staff sergeant there, and as they said about the news reaching around the world, well, one day a paper came to our apartment, and I looked there, and there he was, the mayor of Chapel Hill in a predominantly white part of our country. It makes you very proud. Now, this was around May 1969. I got discharged in December 1969 and headed back to Chapel Hill, North Carolina. And what is amazing about this thing, and if you can imagine, when we have a computer, the operating program is running in the back of it, so we only see what's in the front. So I like to start here with a quote. My hope is that you will also understand that their accomplishments transcend race without denying it, that they have inspired others by their example, and their continued accomplishments and influence in our community and elsewhere is not limited by my focus on the library services, but will continue to inspire generations to come. Let me begin by paraphrasing the preamble to a speech given by Charles Garrott for UNC Bicentennial, October the 12th, 1993. What is it that binds us to this place as to no other? It is not the well, or the bell, or the stone walls, or the crisp October nights, or the memory of dogwood blooming. No, our love for this place is based upon the fact that it is as it was meant to be, the university of the people. There's a double entendre here because libraries are referred to as the people's university. For example, this is what the library means to those who take advantage of this opportunity. I am the storehouse of knowledge in the city. I am opportunity. I am the continuation school for all. I hold within thyself the desires, hopes, theories, philosophies, impressions, doctrines, culture, and attainments, experience, and science of all ages. I am supported by the people, for the people. Our community is enhanced and made better by those who give us sound advice, inspire our hopes and dreams, and through their efforts help us to realize the things in life that matters most and allows us to redefine what our true purpose really is. But that's not the end of the story. Maya Angelou once said, "My mission in life is not merely to survive, but to thrive, and to do so with passion, some compassion, some humor, and some style." Thank you, Angela, for telling me about Tina Turner. Now I know why Ron Sets constantly says, Tina Turner. So we all know that Miss Lillian has style. Now in 1972, when Lady Bird Johnson visited and presented the Chapel Hill Public Library with 2 library books, Lady Bird Johnson, A White House Diary, and Vantage Point, it did not go unnoticed that in that interview, she was called Mrs. Howard Lee, serving in place of the mayor. Now, with regards to library services in Chapel Hill, during the administration of Mayor Howard Lee, these things are important to me because, like that operating system working in the background, I was hired by Elizabeth D. Gear. This is Sarah Gear's mom. She had that position of director until 1975, and this covers the span when Mayor Lee was there in Chapel Hill. She was quietly effective with library staff, the library board of trustees, knew the community, and had a vision for Chapel Hill's library growth and services. And what is interesting about the library is, in the state of North Carolina, Chapel Hill Public Library has the most foot passage through the library, and it grows and serves the community. And what is also interesting about this is that in 1970, December 1970, Mrs. Gear hired me as a bookmobile assistant, and we hadn't gotten the bookmobile yet. So I trained in the library for a whole year. And getting back to what Kenny was talking about, what kind of influence? For example, Mrs. Gear knew about the community, white and African American community. She had a knowledge of a vision for where the library should go. And she hired me as bookmobile assistant. And for the most part, I think I may have been the only bookmobile assistant hired black going into libraries in which I had not dreamed that would be my career. So, and later on in 1978, I got a library degree based on what I had seen Mayor Lee and Miss Lillian Lee accomplish, and I became, quote, bookmobile librarian. So one of the ways that you could see the growth in Chapel Hill is in 1972, we got the bookmobile, with the express purpose of taking library services throughout the community. And what I found when we did that was that there were areas of our community where knowledge really didn't reach in the book format. The bookmobile became a moving branch library. And what we accomplished was so good. For example, we visited daycare centers, neighborhoods. in schools, 30 stops throughout the community, went to places like Airport Road Apartments, Taylor Woods, Taylor Road, Carrollwood, Ridgefield, Glen Leonard, Westwood, Dogwood Acres, Hargrave Center, Pine Knolls. We visited child care centers, and I could see the difference in the different kinds of child care centers. For example, we went to the Montessori School. We went to Chapel Hill Daycare Center, the Center for Children Under 6, Hargrave Center. We also went to the nursing homes. So the library were taking books in the community where they had not been before. And it became evident that in order to be the best at what you do, and I think of Miss Lillian, the kind of style she got, you almost think about Charlie Rich saying, the woman makes you smile. Lord, don't you make me smile. But to take services into a community and be the best at what you do, because you realize that if you can whet the imagination of a child along the lines, Ms. Lillian, then they can soar like an eagle. And it was important to me at that time to be best at what I did. And it was all because of the inspiration of a community. And we get to a point where we talk about the challenge that we have before us isn't what we have or how much we have, but what will we do with what we have. And that's the kind of legacy that we get from you, Ms. Lillian, and you, Mrs. Lee, about what our future should be. And it gives us a legacy and a voice. It gives us a vision to define generations to come. Because this is not the end of this story. I thank you for your time.
Good evening. My name is Dolores Davey. I'm Executive Director of Empowerment Incorporated. I know a little bit about affordable housing and especially the Northside neighborhood. I also know something about Miss Lee. That is, what time did you tell her this was going to be over? She is dying. When I think of the Lees, I think of one of the greatest poets, songwriters of our time, not Charles Kellogg, not Maya Angelou, but Beyonce knows, where she penned and sang, I'm a survivor. I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to stop. I'm going to work harder. I'm a survivor. I'm going to make it. I will survive. Keep on surviving. When I think of the Lees, I know that they are survivors. I am completely fascinated with all of the things that you all have done, what you've been through, and how you survived. When the Lees became mayor, and I say both of them, affordable housing changed for the better. There was a limited number of affordable facilities, and the Lees did something about that. Public housing changed. Mr. Lee saw the inequities in the communities and that there was still a need for more changing. He mentioned outdoor toilets. Kenny mentioned there weren't any paved roads, not many paved streets. The Lees brought infrastructure to the Northside community. They also helped residents who've been living in homes that were badly in need of repair. They brought grants to the community so that people could use grants rather than having to take out loans. You may think, and I don't think many of you all can imagine what it must have been like in 1969 to be using an outdoor toilet. Absolutely inexcusable. Thank you. The other thing that we have to be proud of is when we ride down those streets of Northside, and I don't know if you understood when Kenny was naming the streets of Northside, where Northside really is. But let me give you, for those of you that don't know, let me give you a landmark. If you ride down Rosemary and you pass Mama Dips and you keep going like you're going to Carborough, there's a tall building, two towers, one 10 and one 7 stories on the left-hand side of the road. That's called Greenbridge. To the right of that is Northside, Graham Street, Craig Street, and all the streets that Kenny named. Look at Northside now. Thank you. I know Mr. Lee to be a fantastic statesman, but I know a lot of what makes him great is that classy woman that's behind him and has been his wife for 57 years. They are survivors. A few things you may not have heard about Ms. Lee tonight. She's been the backbone of the Martin Luther King Jr. University Community Corporation for more than 30 years, the real backbone. And that's where I got to know Ms. Lee. That's how I know what she cared about time. And when Angela said, quarter till, she's going to be there. And for me, when she's waiting for me, she's tapping her watch. I told you I was going to be here, and she always is. I know that she's a proud survivor of 40 years of breast cancer. I know that that little lady still goes around checking on people's homes, baking for them. If she knows that a member has died in the family, she's got a dish that she's prepared for them. I know that she keeps doing that, and she will keep doing that. And she's one of the people who is always in the Barbies and Bigwood Sunday when we share our times together with two churches. She's always there with the food. I asked Ms. Lee to reflect on their times as politicians when they both were mayors, because you know that doesn't come. It's not one person. It's always a family, isn't it, Mayor? Isn't it, Senator? It's always the family. She said it wasn't easy. There were lots of ups and downs, threats, and then there was a lot of support from the community members. And I asked her, when do you think this community really started loving you, Ms. Lee? And she said, do they? But I think you can look around this room tonight and see how much you all are loved. Thank you both for being survivors.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Jerry Neville, and I'll talk a little bit about transit system. First, I want to just say a couple of things that I remember being a 14-year-old watching Mayor Lee come to Carolina Grill on Franklin Street. And I was a dishwasher and a busboy. And there were two people that came in there that really stuck out. One of them was Don McCauley, who was an All-American halfback for the University of North Carolina, and Mr. Lee, wearing a tie. And I've always admired his stature, big man. Just admired it. But I also like to thank Binkley Baptist Church and the Historical Society for allowing me to be a part of this celebration honoring Mr. and Mrs. Lee. Compliments to you guys for all the love that you have shared with the Chapel Hill community. When I was first asked to talk about Chapel Hill Transit, I thought, well, that would be pretty easy. I met my wife when we were both driving a bus. Could you stand up, Sheila, for just a second? I recognize you. Being a bus driver for the town of Chapel Hill was a great experience for me. By the grace of God, I was able to use the bus driver position as a stepping stone to further my education. The flexible schedule allowed me to work and go to school. I had no experience driving a bus until I was hired for the town of Chapel Hill. They figured I had good customer service skills, and they could train me how to drive. So the fact that when the town started, they started these old buses, 50 models, the kind that Rosa Parks sit down. We had no power steering, no air conditioning, no heat. If you want to get warm on the bus, you had to wait till the bus filled up with people. Get that body heat. That's the way it was. And I do attribute, I think those old buses played a significant role as far as a safety record for Chapel Hill Transit. Because when we got those new buses, power steering, air conditioning, it was a piece of cake, made my job. One story that sticks out in particular is that when we got the new buses, I just happened to be driving around over the north side. And those old buses, you know, we would leave Estes Park Apartments, going up Pritchard Hill, and you get halfway up the hill, and the bus would stop. And we'd have to tell the students, look, meet me at the top of the hill. At the top of the hill. That's the way it was. But today, Chapel Hill Transit has been a steady employer for 45 years, hiring new bus operators every 6 months. The town's benefit package makes being a bus driver one of the best jobs in Chapel Hill for a person not having a college degree. I have nothing but good memories from Chapel Hill Transit. Thank you again, Mr. and Mrs. Lee, for your great service to the Chapel Hill community.
I remember how proud we were that Chapel Hill had that maker was an excellent example of the young people. He served as a role model for many of us.
I think we were all excited about the enthusiasm of having him elected as the first black mayor of the city in the South, as a predominantly white state in the South.
How, as mayor, initiated some of the human services programs that Chapel Hill continues to support today.
I would have to large conversion.
Apple Chill Fair that started under his leadership.
Chapel Hill didn't have a public transportation system before Howard became mayor. And he was the one that got to get it started. And one of the things that impressed me was that he wanted it to be a free transportation system.
Those are things that are part of his legacy that we will always remember.
Well, I sort of set the pace for other black elected officials, not just as mayors, but county commissioners, city council people, etc.
Howard was a visionary, and he was a man who had ideas about how black folk in the South and poor folk generally can improve the plight of their lives.
I think he gave hope, he gave optimism, he gave reason to believe that America was changing, and particularly the segregated South.
You know, when you look at it, results, and you see the results, but
several things that I think that we can all sit back and recall that made a difference in Chapel Hill during his tenure as mayor, and we should be grateful to him for those things.
Howard did that in Chapel Hill. He was a champion of coalition politics. He got him he got him for he made it into an inclusive community. He listened to the voices of all. That role, that example, was something we're calculating immediately today. The work that I do in the state senate, the work that I do in the city council.
He's doing the right things, taking the right steps to leave a legacy that expands beyond the years that he was active and alive and could take the steps to help people. So I would say that I would keep on doing what you're doing, and the rest will take care of itself. I would like to say thank you, because what you did was in a way unprecedented. The challenge you did was unprecedented. And there's no question in my mind, but not for you, a lot of persons such as myself may not be able to make that step that you were made and then were able to make. And again, you carried your way yourself in such a way that made all of us proud. And I wish you God bless and thank you for what you did and what you continue to do to make this a great city and a great country for all of us.
The person who put that video, both of the videos together, and was very much wanted you to see them, is Mr. Clayton Weaver, who also was the spark behind, he initiated this whole project several years ago and stayed after it, got the Historical Society involved and got me involved. And Clayton, anything to say to us?
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for making this happen. It says on the program that I am now supposed to introduce the honorees. But at this point, what could I say about them that you haven't already heard? Maybe this. Did you know that when Howard Lee was in the military and stationed in Korea, he traveled around as the singer for a musical group called Lin Mac Trio, using the name Baron Lee? And he would croon songs like Blue Moon and A Foggy Day in London Town. You've already heard about the wicked Tina Turner imitations. Enough. This is a serious occasion. Now, to say what they will in the manner and order that they choose, I present to you as we stand to receive this evening's distinguished, admired, and beloved honorees, Howard and Lillian Lee.
I've reached the age now where I have to carry two pairs of glasses, one to see you and one to see what I'm going to be reading. I'm so pleased to be here tonight, and to thank all of you for being here. And I've been as close or past bedtime for some of you, so I'll be brief. Thanks to Chapel Hill Historical Society for honoring us in this special way, and for all of you participants who have said such kind and reassuring words to me. And you know how much I love Tina Turner, and my favorite song was "What's Love Got to Do with It?" Well, I think love has everything to do with what we're doing here tonight. Many of you have been on this journey with us from the beginning. When we moved here from Savannah, we had never been in an integrated setting. Our kids were not in integrated schools, and I got a job at Memorial Hospital in the classroom teaching sick kids. And as I walked through that hospital, I just wanted to see somebody who looked like me that I could talk with. And I got in the elevator one day, and there was this lady who had a name tag on it that said she worked in the Department of Social Services. And she was Edith Elliott. And I said, wow, somebody who looks like me, who works here. And we found out we lived right around the corner from each other in married student housing. And there were maybe four families there then. And Balaam was 8 months old, her oldest child, when she rode him around in his little red wagon to where we lived. And of course, Dr. Seymour, who's no longer here, who was always there. And all of you have been with us on this journey. And I want you to know how grateful I am and how thankful I am, how much you embraced our family through the hard times and through the good times, and how much you supported me through my illnesses, and how much I enjoyed doing things that I continue to do. And Phil, you haven't had a carrot cake in a long time, and I don't think you need one. But if you insist, you know I'll do that. And thank you, Danita, for the flowers. You know, I grew up when we sang a song that said, give me my flowers while I'm living, so that I can see them and smell them and see the beauty that they bring. Well, tonight, I have the biggest bouquet of flowers that this world has ever seen, and all of you are a part of my bouquet of flowers. Thank you. And I remember on our journey when Valerie, she was just a kid, very young kid. Kenny Mann, who is now Mr. Liquid Pleasure. And all of you young people and Dolores Bailey, who've grown up to be really, really participants and help.